June 14, 1944, Carentan, Normandy, France. Hauptmann Friedrich Weber adjusted his spectacles and examined the intelligence photograph with undisguised contempt. The image showed an American Sherman tank, squat and unremarkable, its riveted hull betraying hasty construction. "Look at this," Weber said, tossing the photograph onto the wooden table. "The Americans bring gasoline-soaked coffins to fight Panthers." Oberleutnant Klaus Steiner picked up the photograph and nodded vigorously. "My cousin wrote from Tunisia. He said the Shermans burn so easily the Americans call them Ronsons. Light first time every time." Major Hans Richter, 352nd Infantry Division intelligence officer, frowned slightly at the map. "The Americans have landed considerable numbers. Our reconnaissance reports over 300 in the beachhead sector alone." But Weber waved him off. "Numbers mean nothing when mathematics favor quality." At Villers-Bocage, Whitman destroyed 25 British tanks in 15 minutes. At Kursk, single Tigers faced 30 T-34s and prevailed. In North Africa, our 88s achieved kill ratios of 40-1. The mathematics were undeniable. German armor possessed categorical superiority. What Weber didn't know, what none of them could have known as they studied maps in that cramped Norman farmhouse, was that American industrial capacity would destroy the Panzer arm within 90 days. The numbers would become grotesque. 50,000 Sherman tanks produced against 6,000 Panthers and Tigers combined. 1,700 Shermans manufactured in a single month. German tank losses replaced at 1/10 the rate of destruction. The contemptuous laughter in that farmhouse would become history's most expensive miscalculation, measured in 450,000 German casualties in France. Hauptmann Friedrich Weber, the mocker, had served in Poland, France, and Russia. He had witnessed German armor crush enemy formations with mechanical efficiency. His reports dismissed American equipment as inferior by every measurable standard. Major Hans Richter, the warner, studied production intelligence that troubled him deeply. His analysts reported American factory output that exceeded rational projections. Jeffrader Otto Brenner, the witness, commanded a Panther tank crew in the Hedgerow country. He had destroyed 3 Shermans in 2 days and believed German technical superiority would prevail despite numerical disadvantage. At Prokhorovka, German armor achieved 6-1 kill ratios against Soviet tanks. At Kasserine Pass, American forces lost 183 tanks against minimal German losses. At Villers-Bocage, Michael Whitman single-handedly destroyed 14 tanks, 15 personnel carriers, and 2 anti-tank guns in 15 minutes. Weber had compiled these victories into a presentation demonstrating mathematical certainty. Panthers possess 75 guns with 1,000 meters effective penetration range against Sherman frontal armor, he told division staff. Sherman 75 guns cannot penetrate Panther frontal armor at any range. Tigers possess 88 guns with 2,000 meters penetration capability. American tank destroyers lack armor protection. He spread technical diagrams across the table. Panther, 45 tons, 700 horsepower, 80 frontal armor. Sherman, 30 tons, 400 horsepower, 50 frontal armor. Tiger, 56 tons, 700 horsepower, 100 frontal armor. Recent American failures confirmed his analysis. In Italy, Sherman struggled against prepared German positions. In Tunisia, initial engagements resulted in catastrophic American losses. Weber's combat record validated his confidence. He had served as a company commander in 2 Panzer divisions across 3 campaigns. He possessed the Iron Cross First Class and the Panzer Badge in silver. His unit had destroyed 127 enemy tanks with 19 losses. His tactical recommendations had been adopted at corps level. He spoke with the authority of proven success. Richter's concerns about American production capacity received dismissive responses. "Intelligence estimates American tank production at 2,000 monthly," Richter reported at a staff meeting. "This exceeds our annual production," Weber laughed. "Quantity cannot substitute for quality. American factories produce targets, not weapons. 1 Panther equals 5 Shermans in combat value." Other officers nodded agreement. Historical precedent supported Weber's position. Brenner had fought Soviet armor at Kursk and witnessed German technical dominance. His Panther crew had destroyed 11 T-34s across 4 engagements. The Soviet tanks possessed excellent armor and firepower, but German crews, training, and optics provided decisive advantages. When Brenner transferred to Normandy, he expected similar success against American equipment. His first engagement near Carentan confirmed these expectations. 3 Shermans approached his position across an open field. He destroyed the first at 1,200 meters, the second at 800 meters. The third attempted to retreat but caught fire after a single hit at 1,400 meters. Total engagement time, 4 minutes. American losses, 3 tanks destroyed, 12 crew killed. German losses, 0. The mathematics seemed irrefutable. Detroit, Michigan, January 1942. William Knudsen examined the production floor at the Chrysler tank arsenal with satisfaction. This single facility produced 40 Sherman tanks daily. Every 90 minutes, another 30-ton combat vehicle rolled off the line. Workers moved with practiced efficiency, assembling hulls, mounting turrets, installing engines. The factory operated 24 hours daily across 3 shifts. Production tempo increased monthly. Knudsen had left the presidency of General Motors to serve as director of industrial production. He understood mass manufacturing at scales German planners could not comprehend. In January 1941, America produced just 75 medium tanks monthly. By June 1941, production reached 350 monthly across 6 facilities. By December 1941, 8 factories were producing 750 monthly. By June 1942, American facilities manufactured 1,500 Sherman tanks monthly. By January 1943, the Chrysler tank arsenal alone was producing 1,200 monthly. By June 1943, this single facility was producing more tanks monthly than the entire German Panzer industry. This single facility was producing more than the entire Third Reich. Dorothy Miller, previously a telephone operator in Cleveland, now operated a drill press producing turret ring bearings. She manufactured 240 precision bearings every 8-hour shift. Each bearing required 17 drilling operations performed to tolerances of 0.001 inches. Her production station ran continuously as 3 shift operators maintained 24-hour output. Dorothy produced more turret bearings in 1 shift than the entire Daimler-Benz facility in Stuttgart produced weekly. Her single station's bearing output equipped 30 tanks daily. The mathematics of industrial mobilization created capabilities impossible under totalitarian economic systems. She earned $42 weekly, lived in a new apartment, and sent money to her parents in Ohio. Her supervisor checked her work randomly, but found defect rates below 0.1%. She had never seen a tank in person, but understood her bearings determined whether American soldiers lived or died in combat. Her Protestant work ethic combined with substantial compensation to generate output that would have seemed impossible to German production planners. James Washington, from Birmingham, Alabama, operated the hull welding station that joined armor plates into fighting compartments. His welding equipment generated 14,000 amps of current to fuse steel armor. He completed 1 hull assembly every 45 minutes. His single station's daily output exceeded the entire Krupp facility in Essen. He had worked in shipyards before transferring to tank production. Chrysler Arsenal paid premium wages that attracted skilled workers from across American industry. Washington earned $58 weekly, substantially more than his previous shipyard position. His welding work required skill developed over years of practice. He understood metal properties, heat transfer, structural integrity. Each weld had to withstand combat shock, armor-piercing rounds, and thermal stress. Quality control inspectors examined his work but rarely found defects. He took pride in craftsmanship despite mass production tempo. His productivity exceeded German equivalents by factors of 3 to 5. Charles Wilson, $1-a-year man from General Motors, managed production scheduling across the entire tank program. He had reorganized automobile manufacturing to focus entirely on military production. His systems integrated supply chains spanning 48 states, steel from Pennsylvania, engines from Wisconsin, transmissions from Ohio, electronics from New York, assembly in Michigan. Wilson coordinated 11,000 suppliers producing 8,400 distinct components. His logistics planning ensured no production delays from supply shortages. The entire system operated with mechanical precision. Wilson worked 18-hour days, accepted no salary beyond symbolic compensation, and considered industrial mobilization a patriotic duty equivalent to military service. Americans discarded 240 tons of aluminum scrap daily at the Chrysler arsenal. Germany allocated 180 tons of aluminum monthly for entire Panzer production. The waste from single-facility operations exceeded total enemy industrial capacity. Workers threw away steel offcuts that Germany rationed by the kilogram. Quality control rejected components with minor defects that would have been acceptable in German production. The cafeteria discarded more beef daily than Wehrmacht rations provided to an entire Panzer division monthly. Food waste alone totaled 1,200 pounds daily. Coffee, milk, sugar, bread, meat, all consumed and discarded in quantities that would have sustained a German battalion for a week. The aluminum scrap from a single day's production at the Chrysler arsenal could have built 40 Bf-109 fighter aircraft. This waste represented not inefficiency, but absolute abundance. Industrial capacity, so overwhelming that perfection could be demanded, and anything less than perfection could be discarded without consequence. Major Hans Richter reviewed production intelligence that terrified him. American tank production now exceeds 2,000 monthly, he reported to divisional command. A single factory in Detroit produces more tanks monthly than our entire industry produces annually. Their productive capacity increases geometrically while ours remains static. His superiors dismissed these reports as exaggerated. Intelligence estimates are unreliable, his commanding general stated. American production quality cannot match our engineering standards. Richter possessed factory output data from multiple sources. British intelligence, neutral diplomatic observers, captured American logistics documents. Every source confirmed identical conclusions. American industrial mobilization operated at scales Germany could not match. Richter prepared detailed reports with charts, graphs, and comparative analysis. His warnings went unheeded. June 18, 1944. Road D223 southwest of Carentan, 14:20 hours. Jeffrader Otto Brenner was cleaning the main gun when he heard the distinctive sound of radial engines. American tanks approached from the west along the sunken road. His crew scrambled to combat positions. Through his commander's optics, Brenner counted 6 Sherman tanks moving in column formation. At 14:21 hours, the lead Sherman emerged from behind a hedgerow. At 14:22 hours, Brenner fired. The armor-piercing round struck the Sherman's frontal hull. The tank stopped immediately. Secondary explosions indicated ammunition detonation. Elapsed time from engagement to destruction, 45 seconds. Kill time, 45 seconds. At 14:23 hours, the second Sherman attempted to reverse. Brenner's gunner tracked the movement and fired. The round penetrated the turret. The Sherman burned. Kill time, 38 seconds. At 14:24 hours, 2 Shermans fired blindly at the hedgerow concealing Brenner's Panther. Rounds impacted dirt embankments without effect. At 14:25 hours, Brenner destroyed the third Sherman with a turret penetration. Kill time, 42 seconds. The remaining 3 Shermans deployed smoke and retreated. Brenner fired 3 more rounds, claiming 1 additional hit on a withdrawing target. At 14:27 hours, the engagement concluded. Total engagement duration, 7 minutes. Enemy losses, 4 Sherman tanks destroyed, 3 damaged, 16 crew killed, 9 wounded. American losses included 1 tank company rendered combat ineffective. German losses, 0. The Panther sustained no damage. Ammunition expenditure, 775 rounds. Kill ratio, 4 confirmed, 1 probable to 0. The ammunition expended in this 7-minute engagement exceeded the monthly allocation provided to an entire American tank battalion for training purposes. The tactical mathematics remained favorable to German armor. Hauptmann-Weber reviewed after-action reports from the Hedgerow fighting with satisfaction. German armor maintained technical dominance despite numerical disadvantages. Our crews achieved 3-to-1 kill ratios consistently, he told staff. American tactics remain primitive. They advance in columns, expose flanks, lack coordination. The reports confirmed his analysis. Individual German tanks destroyed multiple American vehicles before withdrawing. American numerical superiority meant nothing when technical advantages provided such decisive tactical benefits. June 20, 1944, Normandy. Intelligence dismissed the reports as battlefield exaggeration. American forces claimed to field 1,000 tanks in the bridgehead, intelligence staff officer reported. This exceeds their shipping capacity. Weber reviewed casualty reports and nodded. Propaganda. The Americans inflate numbers to improve morale. Actual strength is perhaps 300 tanks. Division intelligence concurred. The numbers seemed impossible. American logistics could not sustain such concentrations. German reconnaissance. identified perhaps 400 tanks maximum. Claims of larger forces must represent counting errors or deliberate deception. Major Hans Richter reported to headquarters with updated production intelligence. American tank production now reaches 2,500 monthly. They have produced over 40,000 Sherman tanks since 1942. Current inventory exceeds 25,000 units. They can replace entire divisions' worth of equipment in weeks. He spread production charts across the table. The Chrysler tank arsenal produces 40 tanks daily. That single facility manufactures more tanks monthly than our entire industry produces annually. The Ford Motor Company's Willow Run facility produces one B-24 bomber every 63 minutes. American productive capacity exceeds our maximum effort by factors of 10 to 15. His commanders studied the charts skeptically. "These figures cannot be accurate," the division commander stated. "No industrial system could achieve such output." American production statistics verified Richter's analysis. American monthly tank production, 2,500 units. German monthly tank production, 380 units combined Panthers and Tigers. A single American facility, the Chrysler tank arsenal, exceeded 1,200 units monthly. Entire German panzer industry managed 380 monthly. American aluminum production, 920,000 tons annually. German aluminum production, 234,000 tons annually. American steel production, 89 million tons annually. German steel production, 28 million tons annually. A single American state, Pennsylvania, produced more steel annually than the entire Greater German Reich. These statistics represented industrial realities that German military planning refused to acknowledge. They tried concentrating armor for local superiority. The Americans deployed reinforcements faster than German units could concentrate. They attempted flanking movements through difficult terrain. American artillery interdicted movement with devastating effectiveness. They organized night attacks to negate American air superiority. American infantry called down illumination shells that turned night into day. They fortified defensive positions in the hedgerows. American combat engineers developed specialized bulldozer tanks that ripped through hedgerows in minutes. Every tactical adaptation met overwhelming countermeasures. June 25, 1944, Hill 112 west of Caen, 8:30 hours. Brenner positioned his Panther on the reverse slope of a low hill. American armor approached from the northwest in company strength. Through his optics, he counted 12 Sherman tanks advancing across open farmland. At 8:32 hours, the lead Sherman crested a small rise. At 8:33 hours, Brenner fired. The round struck the Sherman's turret. The tank stopped, smoke pouring from hatches. Elapsed time from engagement to destruction, 32 seconds. Kill time, 32 seconds. At 8:34 hours, the second Sherman moved laterally seeking cover. Brenner's gunner tracked and fired, turret penetration. The Sherman burned. Kill time, 28 seconds. At 8:35 hours, Brenner destroyed a third Sherman attempting to flank his position. Kill time, 35 seconds. American Shermans returned fire but could not penetrate Panther frontal armor at 1,200 meters range. Rounds sparked off the glacis plate harmlessly. At 8:37 hours, Brenner destroyed a fourth Sherman. Kill time, 31 seconds. At 8:39 hours, a fifth Sherman exploded from an ammunition hit. Kill time, 29 seconds. At 8:41 hours, the remaining 7 Shermans retreated behind the ridgeline. Brenner fired at retreating targets, claiming 2 additional hits. Total engagement duration, 11 minutes. Enemy losses, 7 Sherman tanks destroyed, 17 crew killed, 8 wounded. American losses included most of a tank company. German losses, 0. The ammunition expended in this 11-minute engagement exceeded the monthly allocation for an entire German tank battalion conducting training exercises. Major Richter presented final proof to Corps headquarters. American forces have landed over 1,500 tanks in Normandy. They replace losses within days. Captured logistics documents show replacement schedules providing new equipment faster than we can destroy it. A single American depot ship carries 50 complete tank sets. They maintain supply lines that deliver 800 tons of ammunition daily to a single division. He placed captured documents on the conference table. This manifest from Utah Beach shows delivery of 127 replacement tanks in one day. This is more than our monthly production for the entire Western Front. Corps intelligence reviewed the documents carefully. These numbers strain credibility, the intelligence chief stated, but the documents carried authentic markings and serial numbers. Richter continued. The Americans have revolutionized logistics. Their truck production exceeds our total vehicle production by factors of 20. They manufacture 20,000 trucks monthly. We produce 1,000. Their supply system operates with industrial efficiency we cannot match. Hauptmann-Weber reviewed the same reports with dismissive contempt. Logistics mean nothing without tactical competence, he argued. We destroy 3 American tanks for every loss. This kill ratio makes their numerical advantage meaningless. Mathematics favor quality over quantity. He refused to acknowledge that the mathematics had shifted fundamentally. American production could sustain 3 one-loss ratios indefinitely, while German production could not sustain any losses indefinitely. Jeffrader Brenner observed the escalation with growing unease. His crew destroyed more Shermans weekly yet encountered more Shermans daily. We killed 4 yesterday, his gunner reported. Today there are 12 more. The Panther required fuel, ammunition, and spare parts. Supply deliveries arrived irregularly. American artillery interdicted German logistics constantly. Brenner's tank remained combat effective, but the unit's overall strength declined steadily. Of 15 Panthers in the battalion, 9 remained operational. Replacement tanks arrived sporadically. American tank units that suffered 50% losses reappeared at full strength within a week. At the Chrysler tank arsenal, production tempo increased to meet combat demand. Every 63 minutes another Sherman tank rolled off the assembly line complete, tested, and ready for combat. This single facility produced more than the entire German tank industry combined. Workers discarded steel scrap weighing 340 tons monthly. Germany allocated 280 tons of steel monthly for all tank track production. The waste from quality control exceeded total enemy material allocation. A single day's rejected components contained more raw materials than German industry received weekly. Americans threw away armor plates with minor surface defects. German armorers would have welded repairs and used those plates. American quality standards demanded perfection. Anything less got scrapped immediately. Workers threw away machine tool bits dulled beyond optimal sharpness. Germany rationed machine tools and resharpened cutting edges until they broke. American factories ordered new cutting tools by the thousands and discarded them after single shifts. The cost barely registered in accounting systems. Carbide cutting tools, high-speed steel drill bits, precision grinding wheels, all consumed and discarded in quantities that would have supplied German industry for months. The cafeteria discarded 1,800 pounds of food daily. Bread, meat, vegetables, milk, coffee, all consumed by workers earning wages that allowed substantial meat consumption at every meal. Wehrmacht rations provided each soldier 3,000 calories daily, including limited meat. American factory workers consumed 4,000 calories daily, including unlimited meat, dairy, and sugar. The cafeteria waste alone exceeded German military rations for a full battalion. Aluminum scrap from single days' production totaled 8,400 pounds. Germany allocated 6,200 pounds of aluminum monthly for all Bf-109 fighter production. American waste exceeded total German aircraft aluminum allocation. The scrap got recycled, but the differential illustrated absolute productive abundance. Germany rationed every gram of aluminum because production capacity remained constrained. America discarded aluminum freely because production capacity exceeded all consumption requirements. Discarded ammunition in testing exceeded enemy combat allocation by staggering margins. American factories test-fired 400 rounds per tank during quality control. Germany allocated 300 rounds per tank for crew training and combat combined. The quality control ammunition expenditure at a single American facility exceeded total German training ammunition allocation for an entire Panzer division. Every paragraph demonstrated identical realities. This single production system exceeded entire enemy industrial capacity. This single facility's waste exceeded total German allocation. This single quality control process consumed more material than enemy combat forces received monthly. The mathematics had become undeniable. American industrial mobilization achieved scales that made battlefield losses irrelevant. They could lose 3 tanks for every German tank destroyed and still increase overall strength monthly. Germany could achieve 3-to-1 kill ratios and still face defeat through industrial attrition. Major Hans Richter compiled final production statistics for Army Group Headquarters. American tank production totals 49,234 units through June 1944. German production totals 6,287 Panthers and Tigers combined through the same period. The Americans produce 7 times more tanks monthly than we produce annually. They have deployed 8,000 tanks to Western Europe. We have deployed 1,600 tanks to defend France. The numerical disparity increases daily. Their replacement rate exceeds our production rate. Every tank we destroy gets replaced within a week. Every tank we lose takes 3 months to replace if replaced at all. His report included photographic evidence, captured documents, and economic analysis. The conclusion remained inescapable. Germany could not win a production war against American industrial capacity. July 18, 1944, Operation Goodwood, east of Caen, 7:45 hours. Hauptmann Friedrich Weber commanded a mixed battle group of 11 Panthers and 4 Tigers defending the approaches to Bergabus Ridge. 3 British armored divisions attacked with 750 tanks. The engagement lasted 8 hours. Weber's force destroyed 314 British tanks, including 126 Sherman Fireflies. The British advance collapsed under concentrated German fire. Weber achieved his greatest tactical victory. At 15:23 hours, American fighter-bombers from the 9th Air Force struck the German position. Rockets, bombs, and cannon fire destroyed 7 Panthers and 2 Tigers in 4 minutes. Weber's Tiger received multiple rocket hits. At 15:27 hours, the ammunition storage detonated. Elapsed time from engagement to death, 4 minutes 32 seconds. Hauptmann Friedrich Weber, the Mocker, died instantly along with his entire crew. The man who had dismissed American industrial capacity died under weapons produced by that capacity at rates he had refused to believe possible. 8 British armored brigades attacked with overwhelming force. German defensive fire destroyed British tanks with mechanical efficiency. Kill ratios remained extraordinarily favorable to German armor. At 800 hours, 15 British Shermans approached Weber's position. At 8:15 hours, all 15 burned. Kill time averaged 42 seconds per tank. At 900 hours, 12 more Shermans attacked. At 9:13 hours, 10 destroyed. At 1,000 hours, 18 Cromwell tanks attempted to flank German positions. At 10:16 hours, 14 destroyed. The pattern repeated across 8 hours. German armor achieved tactical dominance. British forces suffered catastrophic losses, yet the British continued attacking with apparently inexhaustible reserves. Enemy aircraft destroyed. 0. German anti-aircraft defenses proved inadequate against Allied air superiority. American losses: 4 P-47 fighters damaged, 0 destroyed. Kill ratio: 0 German aircraft destroyed versus complete suppression of German air operations. The ammunition expended in this 4-minute airstrike exceeded the monthly allocation provided to the entire Luftwaffe fighter force defending Western Europe. American fighter-bombers fired 2,400 rockets and 144,000 rounds of .50 caliber ammunition in 4 minutes. Germany allocated 1,800 rockets monthly for ground attack operations across all Western Front forces. The fuel consumed in this engagement exceeded German weekly allocation for an entire fighter wing. American aircraft operated without fuel constraints, while German fighters remained grounded due to fuel shortages. The enemy observed this wasn't combat but systematic annihilation. German tactical excellence meant nothing against absolute material superiority. British tanks died by the hundreds, yet more British tanks appeared hourly. German Tigers destroyed 5 British tanks each, yet got overwhelmed by replacements. The mathematics had inverted. Quality provided temporary tactical advantage. Quantity provided strategic inevitability. Weber died believing German technical superiority would prevail. His death demonstrated that technical superiority without industrial capacity meant nothing in modern warfare. August 1944, POW interrogation facility, Southampton, England. Major Hans Richter sat across from British intelligence officers and spoke with bitter clarity. "We were not defeated by better soldiers, but by better factories. Your Sherman tank was mechanically inferior to our Panthers in every measurable specification. Yet you produced 50,000 Shermans. We produced 6,000 Panthers. A single American factory, the Chrysler tank arsenal in Detroit, produced more tanks monthly than our entire Panzer industry produced annually. We could not match that. We could not even approach that. The mathematics were impossible." He continued with detailed statistics that his captors recorded carefully. "American industrial production exceeded our maximum capacity by factors of 15 in steel, 12 in aluminum, 20 in trucks, 8 in tanks. You produced 324,000 aircraft. We produced 119,000. You manufactured 257,000 trucks monthly. We manufactured 12,000 monthly. Your petroleum production totaled 234 million barrels annually. Ours totaled 12 million barrels annually, including synthetic production. The differential was unsurvivable. You could lose 3 tanks for every Panther destroyed and still increase overall strength monthly. We couldn't replace losses at any ratio. The war became a mathematical inevitability the moment American industry fully mobilized. Jeff Rader Otto Brenner testified separately. I saw the industrial tsunami destroy us. My crew destroyed 27 Sherman tanks across 6 weeks. Every day brought more Shermans. We killed 3, 6 appeared. We destroyed 5, 10 replaced them. The Americans didn't just outproduce us. They revolutionized production itself. Their logistics delivered fuel, ammunition, and spare parts daily. Ours arrived weekly when it arrived at all. Their maintenance recovered damaged tanks within hours. Ours took weeks. They replaced destroyed tanks within days. We never received replacements. The mathematics became undeniable. Industrial capacity determined victory more than tactical competence. Additional testimonies confirmed identical conclusions. We brought swords to mechanized warfare, one Panzer officer stated. Their excess capacity exceeded our maximum effort by margins that made resistance futile, another testified. They could lose 500 tanks weekly and replace them all monthly. We couldn't lose 50 tanks monthly without irreplaceable losses, a third stated. The mathematics were devastating. They produced more tanks in 1 month than we produced in 2 years. A logistics officer explained. Their supply system delivered 20,000 tons daily to Normandy beaches. Our supply system delivered 2,000 tons daily to the entire Western Front. The differential decided the war before the first shot. Production statistics from German intelligence files confirmed all testimony. American production, 88,410 tanks total war production. German production, 24,363 tanks total war production. Single American factory, 1,200 tanks monthly at peak production. Entire German industry, 450 tanks monthly at peak production. The Chrysler arsenal alone outproduced Germany's entire tank industry by factors of nearly 3. Ford's Willow Run facility produced 650 B-24 bombers monthly. Germany produced 370 bombers monthly across all types from all factories combined. A single American factory exceeded Germany's total bomber production. The statistics illustrated industrial realities that military excellence could not overcome. The Sherman tank proved that democratic industrial mobilization possessed categorical advantages over totalitarian systems. Free workers outproduced slave labor by factors of 3 to 5 in every measurable category. Democratic cooperation between government, industry, and labor exceeded totalitarian command economy efficiency. Industrial abundance buried ideological superiority under 49,234 tons of Sherman tanks rolling off American assembly lines. American industrial culture emphasized practical efficiency over theoretical perfection. German engineers designed Tigers as masterpieces of military engineering. American engineers designed Shermans as acceptable weapons producible in overwhelming quantities. German philosophy valued quality supremacy. American philosophy valued adequate quality multiplied by decisive quantity. The Sherman's mechanical reliability, ease of maintenance, and production simplicity mattered more than the Panther's superior armor and firepower. Wars are won by the side that can sustain combat operations indefinitely, not the side that wins individual battles. America could sustain Sherman production indefinitely. Germany could not sustain Panther production beyond finite limits. The production statistics demonstrated deeper truths about democratic versus totalitarian systems. American workers volunteered for factory service, received substantial wages, lived in good housing, ate well, and took pride in their work. This generated high morale and sustained productivity. German factory workers increasingly included forced labor, received minimal compensation, lived in barracks, ate poorly, and worked under threat of punishment. This generated declining morale and falling productivity. Free labor outperformed slave labor comprehensively. Democratic coordination between government and private industry proved more efficient than state-controlled production. American companies adapted automobile production to military needs rapidly and effectively. German state control created rigidity and inefficiency. June 14, 1944. Hauptmann Friedrich Weber had laughed at American industrial capacity and dismissed Sherman tanks as mechanically inferior targets. August 18, 1944. Weber died in a burning Tiger destroyed by American fighter bombers firing ammunition produced at scales Weber had refused to believe possible. His mockery became history's most catastrophic miscalculation, measured in 450,000 German casualties in France, an industrial base destroyed by strategic bombing using 2,700,000 tons of bombs, and a Wehrmacht that entered the war with tactical excellence and exited the war comprehensively defeated by industrial abundance. The lesson remains permanently relevant. Dismissing democratic nations as weak because they prefer peace or underestimating free people's productive capacity invites catastrophic miscalculation. Industrial democracies can mobilize resources at scales totalitarian states cannot approach. Free workers outproduce coerced labor consistently. Democratic coordination proves more efficient than centralized control in sustained industrial efforts. Nations that mistake temporary tactical advantages for strategic superiority face inevitable defeat when confronting societies capable of total industrial mobilization. The Sherman tank embodied this principle. An adequate weapon produced in overwhelming quantities defeats a superior weapon produced in insufficient quantities. Mathematics, not mythology, determines modern warfare outcomes. The mathematics were decisive, absolute, and utterly unforgiving.